when your team defense is so bad the way it is, look to your leader. Every team that I've seen that had a great defense, their leader was a good to great defender. You cannot set the tone as the best player if you're the worst defender on the team. It rolls downhill. And if I see that you, I see that you don't have to give effort. You think I'm gonna give effort?
What?
I might do it for one season or one playoff run, which is why they got that ring. But I'm not gonna do it for 6 straight years.
I think he's leaves a lot to be desired on the defensive end. But
my whole thing with judging basketball players is basically just judging the basketball. So
You're full of shit.
All right, thank you guys.
No, shush. Shush.
I have to observe and watch them play and study their game. And I determine how good I think they are. And when your team defense is so bad the way it is, look to your leader.
Over to Van Vliet. That's no good. Rebound on the weak side. Blocked by Jokic and fumbled out of bounds.
Every team that I've seen that had a great defense, their leader was a good to great defender.
Got it. Tate inside block. Nikola Jokic blocked the ball.
You cannot set the tone as the best player if you're the worst defender on the team. It rolls downhill. And if I see that you, I see that you don't have to give effort. You think I'm gonna give effort? Aaron Gordon is tired of playing defense for Jokic. Caldwell Pope was tired of playing defense for Jokic. That gets tiring. And as Jokic is a leader that don't play defense, and the shit rolls downhill.
And with the Nuggets.
Okay. Well, I mean, look.
Have you watched any of their games?
Yeah, I just watched them tonight. Yeah, I just watched them tonight.
We need to settle this. How bad is Nikola Jokic's defense? People are making claims that his defense is atrocious, it's awful, it's the worst. He's a terrible defender. And I just haven't seen it, so I'm going to do a deep dive. This is for me and you. Let's take a look under the microscope at the defense of Nikola Jokic. I specifically picked one of the most recent games because it's obviously going to be more relevant to all of us. But I also think the opponent is important. The Warriors have the type of offense that puts stress onto defense. Lots of switching, Steph Curry, they've got offensive weapons, guys that can knock down shots, guys that are good off the dribble. It's just really hard to defend the Warriors. You have to be on your toes at all times. You got to be on your P's and Q's. Your fundamentals on defense are crucial. Switches, challenging shots, closeouts, and especially the switching. Oh my goodness. Let's watch the film. Let's see how much blame we can put onto Nikola Jokic for the defensive lapses of the Denver Nuggets. All right, so starting with this play, you guys are going to see there's a little bit of action up here at the top of the play. Right now, Jimmy Butler is going to be dishing the rock here. It looks like they've got a screen. Joker is involved. Now, his job, I think, is to just spot this out, right? And what he can do is two things. He can play the screen and anticipate the pass coming up here to the top. Now, he's going to have his head on a swivel. It's going to take a pretty high-level defensive play to stop this from happening, but the risk is this cut right here is potentially available for the person setting the screen. All they would have to do is drop down towards the paint. If Jimmy Butler is able to get that pass through, that's an easy layup. So let's see how Joker plays it. All right, so Joker actually played it the conservative way. He dropped down to defend against the potential of Draymond Green cutting towards the rim. MPJ couldn't fight through the screen. He gets picked, and you're giving up 3 points. So that's not a good defensive play. Obviously, you had to kind of pick your poison there. I wouldn't say it's anything egregious. I think the bigger problem is that MPJ wasn't able to fight through the screen, but maybe there's a communication opportunity where, you know, either MPJ or Joker could communicate of what they want to do there. I wouldn't say it's an egregious play, but I guess they could have played it better.
And as Jokic is a leader that don't play defense, and the shit rolls downhill.
Got a situation, and Joker is involved. Now, he's on the perimeter. You can see Draymond is really far from the basket. Draymond is no threat from there. In fact, Draymond's not really a threat from anywhere outside of the paint. If he's taking threes, you're living with it. All right, let's see what happens as the ball moves around. You've got Steph. It looks like he's coming off the baseline. Let's see what they run, and let's see how Joker plays it. All right, so here's the action. Pass comes into Steph. Steph is coming around the screen. Joker is rushing Steph. That's probably the best thing to do because Steph doesn't need a lot of space. If he can see the rim from 30, 40 feet, he might shoot it. So he probably wants to take this shot. All right, let's see if Joker is able to effectively impact the play, maybe force Steph to do something that he doesn't want to do. All right, so what they ended up doing was they ended up blitzing. They ended up kind of double teaming, going for the deflection, trying to stop that rim roll. It doesn't pan out. They give up 2 points. I wouldn't say it's a bad defensive play. I think Steph just made a great pass. I don't know. Joker's a pretty tall dude. Maybe on a different scenario, he probably can deflect that. Maybe. But I think if there's an issue with this play, it's probably the fact that maybe he didn't rush sooner. Maybe if he would have anticipated this curl around the screen a little bit sooner, he could have hedged Steph, forced him back towards MPJ. That would have been the ideal situation. I wouldn't call this an egregiously bad defensive play. Obviously, it's not a great defensive play. The outcome is they got 2 points. Nice play by Steph, actually.
And is Jokic is a leader that don't play defense, and the shit rolls downhill.
In the next half-court set here, and Draymond's got the ball. He's kind of like on the elbow. Joker is recovering. It looks like he was helping on Steph. I'm not really sure what was happening like a little bit before this. But what he's going to do here is he's actually going to play the passing lane. And Draymond's going to go, I think, either to Pods or maybe back to Curry. I think it's to Pods. Joker plays the passing lane, gets the deflection, and I want you guys to see the outcome. Hands playing the passing lane, ball goes to Aaron Gordon. They're up the floor, and we've just turned a scoring opportunity for the Warriors to scoring for the Nuggets. The Warriors could have scored 3 points there, but with the deflection, it actually turns into a +5 for the Nuggets because they get their 2 points and the Warriors don't get their 3.
I just watched most of the game. Golden State was playing Denver just now.
So that's a really good play. That's a solid defensive play, playing the passing lanes by Joker, recovering, getting back in a position to make the play.
So I have to observe and watch them play and study their game. And I determine how good I think they are.
You're going to see some action at the top of the play here in the middle of the court, kind of around the 3-point line. This is going to put centers at risk for getting burned. And the reason why they're at risk is because they can't laterally keep up with smaller players like guards. There's going to be a screen. Joker's going to have to switch on to Curry. I want you guys to see how he plays it and see if you could spot out if he actually played it right or if he made a mistake. All right, now let's talk outcomes. So first of all, how many guys are able to keep up with Steph Curry? I mean, just primary ball defenders. How many people can keep up with Steph? There's not many. A center trying to keep up with Steph, I think, is a fool's errand. It's just impossible to do. But if you play good fundamental defense, you could be in a position to possibly alter the shot or make Steph do something with the ball that reduces his ability to serve as a threat. So here's Steph at the bottom. Here's Draymond Green. They're going to do some kind of a handoff. I want you guys to notice Joker is there. He's going to be part of this switch. So they run the screen. All right, now, the Denver defender that was on the ball with Steph, he's got to try to fight through this. He's trying to get there. Now, once Steph gets too far over as he moves to the center of the court, the best action is probably going to be just switching at that point. There's no way he's going to be able to recover and get in a position to make a play on Steph if Steph goes to the right-hand side of the defense. Now, watch Joker's defense. He keeps Steph in front of him. There's a little bit of space between them, and then, of course, Steph gets the step on Joker. Joker doesn't have the lateral movement to keep up with Steph. Okay, so did Joker make a bad defensive play there? Maybe. If he allows too much space between him and Steph, then Steph is just going to raise up and shoot the ball, and he's probably going to make it. Now, Joker didn't want to risk that. He didn't want to just let Steph shoot the ball, so he tried to stay in front of him. He was a little bit close to him, and Steph made him pay. This is a good play by Steph to get to the rim and to get by Joker. All right, so how egregious was that play? How bad was Joker's defense? I mean, I don't know. Should he have played off a little bit and then watch Steph take the jump shot? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's better than this, possibly. It's a higher percentage shot, a layup. But I don't know if Joker actually did anything wrong. I guess he just took a chance and it didn't work out to his favor. Maybe he should have played off a little bit and forced Steph to have to shoot a jump shot instead of getting by for a layup. I would argue that maybe there should have been some help defense knowing that Steph could blow by Joker. So I wouldn't call that an egregious play. Not a great play. I guess Joker could have played it better. We got Joker in action. We've got Russell Westbrook and Joker defending. This is some kind of like a screen that's going on between, I don't know who that is actually. Is that Kuminga? It's hard to tell. But Steph's got the ball. He's going to be looking to get these guys in some kind of a mix-up of some sort. Let's see how Joker plays it and Russell Westbrook. All right, so we've got a little bit of a push here. It looks like there's some space. You guys see the space between the two defenders? Steph's probably looking to get the ball in to a streaking player there. What Joker has to do in this case, he sees Steph. His options are probably to get in here to try to prevent the pass or at least force it over the top. A big lob pass over the top gives this defender time to recover and kind of fill in the space, and then it starts to force the rotations. Or what he could do is try to rush him, close the gap to go for the deflection. He still has a dribble. Of course, Steph can go left. There's a lot of things that could happen here. Let's see the outcome. All right, he goes through right the middle. So here's what I would say was the mistake by Joker. I think the mistake is the fact that there's a lot of space here. I think you've got to cover up that space, and Russell's got to actually come in here and fight through the screen. He should not be on the outside of this action. He needs to be on the inside of the action. He should be either getting in closer to Curry, allowing Joker to fall back, or he needs to come in and at least fill this space. I actually think the problem here is Russell Westbrook. I don't think he played this correctly, and without a communication between these two, they're not going to make an effective play. So Joker didn't do anything special. It's not like Joker isn't culpable of not making a good defensive play, but I do think that this falls on Russ, actually. He needs to either rush in to get closer to Steph, allowing Joker to fall back, or he needs to at least come in, and if he's here, he can prevent Steph from making this easy pass. And the same thing with Joker. I think Joker's got to take that chance, go in there, try to fill in the space, and if Steph still has his dribble, force him to the weak side and at least give time for the defense to kind of recover. Easy bucket, terrible. We're in this particular set, and what you guys are seeing here is, I'm not sure who he's defending. He's kind of just like drifting. He's a couple of, I don't know, a couple of players away from the action. Pod's got the ball. Jimmy's streaking to the hoop. Joker's assignment is down here at the bottom of the screen by the referee. He's kind of sagging. It looks like he's sort of defending the paint a little bit for anything that comes up over the top. Watch the play. All right, Joker is really, really far from his defensive assignment. He clearly doesn't see a threat from this player, whoever it is. I can't really tell. Whoever the dreadlocks guy is for the Warriors. But Joker isn't even worried about him. He's looking at Pods. He's looking at the action. All right, so Joker's clearly an intelligent defender. He's analyzing, he's evaluating, he's always looking at the action. All right, so let's play this. The action back to Pods. All right, bad play by Joker. Now here's why I'm going to say bad play by Joker. By having all this space and this screen being set in, you've allowed Pods to basically step into this soft area of the defense where there's no defensive presence. This is a practice jump shot, literally a shoot-around practice jump shot, because Joker did not want to give up his position in the paint, and he didn't want to step up. He was waiting for the other defender to kind of recover and challenge the shot. That's actually bad defense by Joker. I would not have played this like this. If this guy isn't a threat, then you don't need to be worried about him. Here's your help. 1, 2. You've got help defenders everywhere. You need, as Joker, you need to rush this, force the pass. Hell, even if it's going to be a bounce pass to this guy as he goes to the rim, you have help defenders. There's going to be rotations. This is the worst play that Joker made on defense so far. His inactivity, his ability to not move into a different position, is why the Nuggets actually gave up these 2 points. This one is on him. Now, I want you guys to notice something. It is 44-34, and Joker is out of the game. They took him out for a few minutes. So actually, I think... So at the 11:34 mark, the score is 44-34 Denver. There's 11:34 in the second quarter. The Nuggets, without Joker, actually get worse defensively. So they're up by 10 points. And then Joker's going to take a break because he played the entire first quarter. He's going to take like a 5-minute break. It's 44-36. 44-39. 47-41. 49-43. There's 6 minutes left. This 3-ball to Post, Quentin Post. Here's another bucket. No Joker. I want you guys to look at the score. All right. It was 49-48 with 5.5 minutes left. They erased that lead in 5 minutes.
Aaron Gordon is tired of playing defense for Jokic. Caldwell Pope was tired of playing defense for Jokic. That gets tiring.
The Nuggets were up 10, and now their lead shrunk to 1 in the 5 minutes that Joker sat. So saying that Joker doesn't know how to play defense or he's a bad defender, well, I can't tell. I did see one bad play, and this is only one game, and this is a really good offense, and it's a very dangerous offense. But we just watched basically an entire quarter of basketball. I wouldn't describe Joker as a bad defender at all. I saw one bad play where definitively he didn't make a good play on defense. It was clear and obvious. The other plays, I didn't see anything egregious. I wouldn't say, well, he's a terrible defender based on the way he played. It's completely overblown that Joker is a bad defender. I saw good plays. I saw his teammates putting him in a couple of bad positions. I saw one play in one quarter of action where Joker made a bad defensive play.
So I have to observe and watch them play and study their game. And I determine how good I think they are.
And you guys can tell me how bad of a defensive play it was. It was the play when Podziemski just stepped into a jump shot and Joker didn't move. How egregious is that? I mean, we see that all the time in the NBA where guys don't challenge shots. How bad is his defense? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being horribly bad and 10 being elite, all defensive, all NBA defensive, Joker in this particular quarter of analysis, I would say that Joker is he's like a 7 on defense. I did not see that many bad plays. To me, I think he's usually an average defender. Sometimes he's a good defender. In this particular stretch of basketball, I saw one bad play. The rest of the defense was actually decent.
I just watched most of the game Golden State was playing Denver just now.
And I don't really see the whole thing that Joker is a bad defender. We can do more film breakdown if you guys want. We can look at some more games. We can look at some more matchups. But in watching one quarter of basketball, I just don't see it. And that's a damn good team. The Warriors are trouble offensively. I don't see it. I think the whole thing about Joker's defense being horribly awful and bad, I don't think it's accurate. I don't think it's true. We just watched the film together. I mean, do you guys really think it's that bad? It didn't look that bad to me.